moving on to vaccines, again, just general thought about when is the vaccine um, most likely to be available, as and when, and if it will be available. You as a frontline doctor, will you take it?
Yes, so that's a great question. And a lot of the news that has been come out of the vaccines, especially from the US, has been painted by a political slant. But scientifically speaking, there's a lot of vaccines in the pipeline that are being developed. Right now, there are phase 3 trials that are going on, which essentially means that there are trials going on in patients at 30, 40,000 people, patients looking not only for efficacy, but also for safety. Now that the elections are over, I feel that an unsafe vaccine will not be released in the US, and therefore the vaccine that comes out with an FDA stamp on it will be much safer now that the political pressures have gone. But that said, the vaccines, the other thing that I want to mention about vaccines is that it's been looked at least in the US, as the holy grail, that the vaccine will come and everything will be taken care of. That is a little bit of a myopic view. Having a vaccine, and the most relevant vaccine right now is the Moderna, which still requires 2 shots to boost your immunity. Having a vaccine is one thing, deploying it to 80% of the world to get herd immunity is an entire a different challenge. And honestly, if you hear Dr. Fauci, who's the US voice of sanity in this, he's seeing this as entire 2021 before herd immunity comes. Therefore, a vaccine will be good news, but it's one step away, a huge step away from getting our entire population. There's so many differences. You have to have a cold chain to go down to the periphery. Vaccinating in deep Africa is not easy by any means, and that will take many, many months to achieve. So just that we can't forget that this is a once in a century thing that we are going through, and it's hugely inconvenient, hugely sad and tragic. But things like this come once in 100 years, and unfortunately, the few of us on the call and many others are caught in that part of history.
So you didn't answer my second part of the question. If there was a vaccine FDA approved, would you take it?
I would look at the data, but yes, now that there's no political pressure to release an unsafe vaccine, I would take it if it comes with good data behind it.
And do you think, and again, it leads me to this question, do you think the vaccine will be a solution? Or one fine day, the virus will suddenly die its own death?
There's no reason that we should expect or hope that the virus will die a sudden death. I think it's going to be in our community for eternity now, just like the influenza virus is in our community and other coronaviruses are there in our community. The vaccine is our best step to ending these numbers and these lockdowns and everything else that comes now.
Sure. I didn't understand one thing when somebody threw at me. What's the difference between rapid cure and vaccine?
So a vaccine is essential to prevent an infection. So if I take a vaccine, I hope to be protected from an infection if I get exposed to something. A cure is once you are infected, what we can do to rapidly improve that infection. So one is prevention, one is treatment.
Got it. So we may still get a vaccine, but we may still not have the cure for it, for those who have already gone through it or who haven't had a vaccine.
True.
And is there some development on the cure side as well?
Most of it, remdesivir, for example, is our best bet.
Right.
Other than that,
nothing beyond that. Efficacy you mentioned.
No, so that trial shut down. Most of the other trials are shutting down.
Got it.